Hi everyone, and welcome to The Sleepy Scientist. I'm really happy you're here. Tonight, we're going to go on a calm and quiet trip to learn something amazing. So get comfy, take a deep breath, and let's enjoy this peaceful science story together. Before we start, tell me in the comments, where are you watching from and what time is it for you right now? If you like relaxing science videos, don't forget to tap the like button. Now let's begin.
There is a hush that lingers at the edge of thought, a softness where mind and matter touch. If you close your eyes, you can almost feel it, the faint shimmer of awareness, like the faintest glow of starlight far beyond the night sky. Scientists have long wondered what this glow truly is, this silent observer within us. Is it only the buzzing of neurons, or could it be something stranger, something woven into the hidden fabric of the universe itself? When you breathe in slowly, the air moves into you as though carrying invisible currents of information. Each breath fuels the dance of neurons, and each neuron is a tiny spark. These sparks leap across microscopic gaps, chemical and electrical in their language, but in their rhythm there is mystery. Some researchers whisper about the possibility that hidden within those rhythms lies a quantum flicker, a secret too subtle for classical biology to explain. To understand this wonder, imagine the smallest particles of matter, drifting in probabilities rather than certainties. A particle is not truly here or there until it is seen, and in its invisibility, it seems to blur across possibilities. Could the mind work in such a way? Could thought itself be more than circuits of flesh and salt, but rather a play of shadows and light at the quantum scale? When you listen closely to your own mind, the shifting nature of memory and dream almost feels like such probabilities, arising, dissolving, reforming in delicate waves. The human brain is immense in its detail. Billions of neurons, each one humming with activity, connected by trillions of synapses. Yet for all its complexity, the inner sensation of awareness feels smooth and whole. It does not feel like billions of parts, but like a single river. A paradox is hidden here. How does the activity of so many tiny sparks become the quiet, continuous stream of self? Some scientists wonder if quantum effects provide the hidden bridge, weaving the sparks together into one flowing experience. Now imagine lying beneath a wide sky scattered with stars. Each star seems alone in the darkness, yet from far away they belong to a greater pattern, a constellation shaped by distance and imagination. Neurons in the brain are like those stars. They fire separately, but together they form constellations of thought. And in the silence between them, perhaps something quantum whispers, pulling separate fires into unity. Just as the stars form a picture only when seen together, perhaps consciousness forms only when the particles of the brain resonate in harmony. In quantum physics, there is a principle called superposition. A particle can exist in multiple states until observed. This is not how we experience the world in daily life, yet in the realm of the very small, it is a law of nature. Some have wondered, could the brain harness this strange rule? Could thought itself emerge from particles flickering between possibilities, collapsing into choice when attention falls upon them? Awareness may then be not only an emergent property of matter, but also a gentle unfolding of quantum probabilities, rising and fading like the shimmer of stars across water. Theories such as these are controversial. Many neuroscientists believe that the warmth of the brain, its wet biological machinery, would wash away fragile quantum effects too quickly. Quantum states are delicate, and the brain is noisy, full of constant activity. Yet others imagine tiny pockets where quantum coherence might survive, perhaps inside the microtubules of neurons, the scaffolding that shapes the very architecture of the mind. Within these narrow tubes, sheltered from chaos, particles may dance in synchrony, weaving threads of thought from quantum fabric. If this is so, then consciousness could be more than the sum of neurons. It could be a reflection of the universe's most hidden laws. The mind would then be not only an organ within the body, but also a window into the very strangeness of reality itself. The flicker you feel when you notice your own awareness, the gentle pause when you realize, I am, might be the very echo of quantum phenomena. The mind becomes not a machine alone, but a cosmic instrument, resonating with mysteries older than time. Now let us drift deeper into the texture of silence. Notice how a thought can appear without effort, arising like a bird from a tree, or how an image can vanish like a cloud dissolving in the sky. This softness, this vanishing and returning, feels like the ebb and flow of probabilities. Consciousness does not move like a clock. It sways like wind in tall grass or like ripples in a pond that reflect the moonlight. Such swaying may be the brain's quiet entanglement with the hidden patterns of the universe. Entanglement is another quantum wonder. Two particles once connected can remain bound in a way that defies distance. If one is measured, the other seems to know instantly, no matter how far apart they drift. Could the mind be angled within itself across distances of its own networks? Could awareness be the shimmering link between entangled states, weaving distant regions of the brain into one seamless whole? If so, then each thought is not isolated, but part of a delicate tapestry, woven with threads that stretch across invisible spaces. You may notice this unity when memory flows into imagination. A scent carries you back years, a song awakens forgotten feelings. Different parts of the brain awaken together as though linked by hidden wires, but no wires can be seen. Instead, there is a field of awareness, soft and continuous. The brain fires like distant stars, but awareness feels like a sky. And perhaps that sky is quantum, shimmering in ways that science is only beginning to glimpse. Some scientists resist this notion, preferring simpler explanations. They say consciousness may be a mere byproduct of computation, a story the brain tells itself as it processes information. Yet such explanations often leave the mystery untouched. For in computation alone, there is no shimmer of self, no gentle feeling of being. And so the question remains unresolved, waiting like a riddle whispered in the dark. Could it be that the truth lies not in simplicity, but in the hidden dance of quantum waves? The flicker between neurons and stars may be a metaphor, but it is also a possibility. For the particles that make up your mind are the same as those that burn within suns. Hydrogen and oxygen, carbon and calcium, all born in stellar furnaces long before life began. Consciousness, whatever it is built of star stuff. And if those particles obey quantum rules in the heart of suns, could they not also hum with quantum secrets within you? The night sky becomes a mirror then, reflecting the mystery of mind. Look long enough and the stars seem to gaze back. Your awareness feels both intimate and infinite, personal and cosmic. And in that feeling there may be a clue, for perhaps the shimmer of consciousness is not confined to you alone. Perhaps it is the universe becoming aware of itself through your eyes, through your thoughts, through the quiet flicker that drifts between neurons and stars. Let's drift deeper, as if we were following a quiet river through a forest at dusk. The water moves with a hush and the banks glow with small pale flowers. This is how attention feels inside the mind, a slow current, a guiding hand. When you let your thoughts settle, you can sense patterns hiding underneath. Some of these patterns come from cells and salt and gentle electricity. Some may come from smaller laws, from the whispering world of the tiny. This is where the question returns like an echo. Is the glow of awareness only the hum of warm biology, or does it hold a softer music, a quantum rhythm that helps knit the mind into one? In the brain, there are waves that rise and fall together. Scientists call them rhythms, and they come in many bands like notes in a choir. There are slow waves when you sleep and quicker waves when you are alert. The faster ones, sometimes called gamma waves, hum when you focus, when tiny sparks across wide regions of the brain start to sing in time. This singing in time is important. It helps different parts of the brain share a common moment. It feels like two distant choirs hearing each other across a valley and choosing the same beat. When you pay attention to a scent, or follow the meaning of a sentence, or hold a thought in memory for just a breath, these waves help keep everything together. But what makes them so smooth? What lets so many separate cells stay in step? Some wonder if quantum links could add a hidden string, a very fine thread helping distant notes stay true. Inside each neuron are tiny structures like latticework. They are called microtubules, and they shape the cell from within. Picture a long, hollow straw made from small building blocks, all snapped into a delicate tube. These tubes help the cell move little packages from one end to another. They help the cell keep its form, like thin bones inside a jelly. Some researchers think that within these narrow tubes, the conditions might be just right to shelter fragile quantum patterns for a moment longer than the warm, noisy brain would suggest. If so, they could act like hidden flutes inside the larger orchestra of the mind, adding a high, steady tone that helps the bigger music stay in tune. You can almost feel how helpful such a tone would be. Imagine trying to walk a path through a foggy marsh at night. If someone far away plays a gentle flute, you can walk toward the sound even if you cannot see the source. A quantum tone, if it exists, could guide the brain's wider rhythms toward a shared beat. It would not do the thinking by itself. It would not hold memories by itself. But it could help far places line up and choose the same now, the same small slice of time in which awareness feels whole. That shared now is the tender heart of experience. The mind does not feel like scattered moments. It feels like one soft unfolding, one candle flame held steady against the wind. Of course, many scientists say the brain does not need quantum help. They explain the shared now by the timing of spikes, by the way neurons connect into loops and layers, by how attention moves like a lantern beam through a dark room. They point to experiments where signals are tracked, where rhythms can be nudged, and where awareness seems to fade under anesthesia and return when the chemistry changes back. This everyday evidence is strong. Yet even with all these explanations, the simple feeling of being, of witnessing, still shines like a pearl that is hard to carve from simple rules. The pearl seems whole, and it seems delicate, and it seems to rest in a place deeper than a single spark. Consider anesthesia like a soft gray curtain moving across a stage. As the medicine spreads, the choir of the brain falls out of step. The rhythms no longer lock together. The shared now loosens and drifts apart. When you awaken, the curtain lifts and the choir gathers itself again. Some researchers think that if there were hidden quantum tones helping to keep that choir together, these tones might weaken under anesthesia, just as small flame lights can be snuffed out by a gentle breath. Others believe the picture is simpler. The chemistry alone can explain it. Both views can live side by side like two pictures of the same moon, one through a window, one reflected in a pond. The truth may require both pictures layered gently. Let's think about a simple sensation, like the feel of warm water on your hands. Many nerves send signals up your arm and into your spine, then into your brain. Different layers sort the feeling: pressure, temperature, motion. Different places help name the feeling, help shape a memory, help connect it to a feeling like comfort. All this work is spread out across the brain, and yet your experience is not a scatter of separate notes. It is a single bath of warmth. That unity could be made by the timing of spikes alone, by network patterns well tuned by evolution and learning. Or it could be that these patterns are helped by hidden threads at a smaller scale, threads that help separate regions share not only information, but a kind of fine-grained yes, a delicate agreement that they belong to one moment. In the forests of the world, trees share signals through thin networks under the soil. Fungi link their roots and messages pass from one tree to another. This is not magic, it is nature's quiet web. The brain holds many such webs woven through cells and tissues. If quantum links add anything, they would be more like mist than rope, subtle, easily disturbed, and yet able to change how dew settles on a leaf. They would not push like a shove, they would lean like a whisper. A whisper can matter when you are already listening. Some thinkers prefer to leave quantum ideas aside and ask a different question. How much information must be woven together for awareness to arise? They speak of integration, of many parts becoming one pattern that cannot be split without losing what it is. Other thinkers focus on broadcasts, on how the brain's findings are shared widely to many regions at once, as if a lantern in the mind lights up a square where many paths meet. These ideas do not need quantum rules. They live in the visible architecture of the brain. And yet, even here, a hidden tone could help the lantern glow more evenly, or help the square keep its shape when wind moves through. There is another quiet clue to consider: the small delay between the world and awareness. When you touch a table, your feeling of touch does not arrive instantly. It comes a tiny fraction of a second later, after signals travel and circuits settle. In that tiny gap, the brain must pull together many threads. It must judge where on the skin the touch happened, how strong it was, whether it matters now, and whether it should be remembered or let go. If the mind has any hidden quantum harmonies, they would need to help during that gap, smoothing the way for a single, unified whisper of now to emerge. The help could be like oil on a hinge. The door would still swing, but it would do so more quietly and with less shaking. Some people imagine quantum entanglement as a strong cord connecting distant things, but in truth, it is delicate and strict. It cannot be used to send messages faster than light. It can, however, hold correlations that spring into view when you look. If some parts of the brain keep such correlations for even a breath, they could ease the task of unity. They could make it a little more likely that two far places agree at the same time. This would not be a dramatic effect. It would be more like the difference between thousands of fireflies blinking in chaos and thousands of fireflies that, because of a small shared rhythm in the air, find it a bit easier to fall into the same pulse. Even. Little shift can turn noise into glow. Let's also wander toward memory, which feels like a lake that keeps the reflections of many moons. When you remember your childhood bedroom, many senses wake. The pattern of the wall, a smell of dust, the feeling of a blanket's edge. The brain must bring these pieces from different cupboards and lay them on the same table. There is evidence of how this happens through pathways and loops, and through a small structure deep in the brain that helps bind details together for a short while. Yet the softness of memory, the way it arrives as one room rather than a list of items, still feels like a miracle of timing. The miracle might be fully explained by known biology, or perhaps there is an extra quietness offered by quantum order, like a gentle hand smoothing the cloth so the items do not wobble when set down. Then there is the self, a word that tries to catch a river. The self is not a thing you can point to. It is a changing pattern that holds enough together to feel like a home. It is shaped by the body, by the face you see in morning light, by the name others call you, by the stories you tell when the night is long. The brain supports this home with many caretakers, systems for body signals, for social meaning, for memory of what came before and hope for what might come later. If quantum threads are present, they could be part of the mortar that keeps the stones from slipping, especially when the house shakes with fear or joy. When you return to calm, the house feels steady again. The mortar holds and you can sleep. We should also look at the edges of awareness, where dreams float and where meditation quiets the sea. In deep meditation, people describe a wide, simple space like a sky with few clouds. Brain rhythms in such states often show slower, more even patterns, but they also show moments of clean alignment across distant regions. A hidden tone could help keep that alignment soft and steady. In dreams, the mind plays with images and emotions in a world unbound by outside light. The choir sings a different song then, free of the sharp beats of the day. Even in that play, there is a kind of unity. A dream scene holds together long enough to feel like a place you visit. Perhaps the same gentle harmonies work here, too, holding the dream sky until morning melts it away. Now imagine awareness not as a lamp, but as a pool that reflects whatever leans over it. When attention rests on a thought, that thought is reflected sharply and the edges brighten. When attention softens, the pool widens and the whole room is seen in faint outline. For the pool to reflect clearly, the surface must be smooth. In a brain of many tiny waves, smoothing can be done by rhythms alone. Together, they can calm the water. And yet, if there is a hidden quantum hush, if very small patterns line up like grains of sand on a beach, then the surface might be a little smoother still, like a lake at dawn before any bird has crossed it. Critics will ask for proof, and they are right to ask. Science grows by careful tests, by doubt that is both sharp and kind. Some experiments look for signs that tiny ordered patterns can survive in warm, wet conditions for longer than expected. Others look for small traces in brain signals that cannot be explained by classical noise. Most results so far suggest that the brain's known tools are enough. And still, the question lingers because the feeling of being is so unlike the parts that make it. The feeling is like a song, and the parts are like reeds and strings. Even if the reeds and strings explain the song, we still lean close to hear if there is an unplayed note somehow folded into the whole. Let's step outside and feel night air on the skin. The stars above do not hurry, but they move. The earth turns and they slide along old paths. Your mind turns too, and thoughts slide along paths carved by days and years. Somewhere in that turning, you sense a quiet witness. It feels steady and plain, and it does not need fancy words. When you look up, the witness looks with you. When you close your eyes, the witness is the warmth behind your eyelids. Whether the witness is made only by the known tools of the brain or also helped by smaller rules, it is tender. It asks for rest, for kindness, for time. It is the part that says, "I am here," and means it in a way that cannot be measured by a ruler. As we follow the river of thought, we meet forks and small waterfalls. Choice appears like a clearing where two paths begin. You pick one. Some say that choice is only the outcome of many hidden steps, like pebbles rolling until one lands in a cup. Others say there is room for a tiny openness, a chance for something like a quantum toss, a soft randomness that lets a new pattern rise. If such tiny openness exists, it would not be wild or noisy. It would be like pollen floating in still air, enough to let a flower meet a bee. Choice would still be shaped by who you are, by you value, by what you have learned. The openness would be a whisper at the edge of the leaf, not a storm that blows the tree down. We are not trying to say that the mind is magic. We are trying to say that nature might be deeper than we first learned, and that the mind, being part of nature, may draw from those depths in ways that are gentle and quiet. It might be that future studies show no special quantum help, and that the beauty of awareness is fully built by networks we can map, by rhythms we can track, by rules we already know. That would not make the mind less wondrous. It would still be a forest full of singing. But if small quantum threads are found, if the hidden tone is heard, that would add another verse to the song. The verse would tell us the universe can hold stillness inside motion and clarity inside mist. Listen then to your breathing. Each breath is a wave that knows its home shore. Notice how thoughts rise like lights on a far hillside, then dim. Notice how even when one light goes out, the hillside remains. The mind is a field of glow, and you are the witness of that glow. The question of quantum mystery does not need to be settled tonight. Tonight, it is enough to rest with the possibility. The possibility is a lantern set on a quiet table. It does not shout. It simply shines, and by its small circle of light, you can see your hands resting, and you can see the page of your life turn softly in the breeze. If there is a flicker between neurons and stars, perhaps it lives in the way calm attention steadies the heart. Perhaps it lives in the way a memory arrives whole and then leaves its warmth behind. Perhaps it lives in the way two people share a glance and understand more than words can hold. These are ordinary miracles. They are as common as bread and as bright as simple kindness. Science will keep asking, testing, and revising. The questions do not disturb the pool, they refine its mirror. And as we wait for better answers, we can dwell in wonder without fear. Wonder is not a gap in knowledge, it is a form of love. Now imagine, just for a moment, the tiniest theater hidden inside a neuron. Its stage is smaller than dust, and yet on this stage, patterns form and fade, linking arms for a heartbeat's length. Outside, the larger choir is singing. Inside, the hidden flutes keep a pure tone. The two levels do not fight, they help each other. The song reaches your ears as one smooth ribbon. You smile in the dark and feel the ribbon drape across your shoulders like a shawl. The shawl is made of the world, from stars and oceans, from cells and fields, from warmth and chance, and from the soft rules that govern all of it. You pull it close. The night says nothing, and you need nothing more. The night deepens and silence stretches wide, like a canvas painted in dark velvet. Within that stillness, your mind feels both heavy and light, filled with questions that float but never demand answers. Consciousness itself feels like this, present, undeniable, yet always slipping beyond the edge of simple explanation. To close our story gently, we linger with the possibilities, tracing the faint outlines of what may be, while resting in the comfort of what is. Science often walks with 2 feet, experiment and imagination. Experiment gives us anchors, careful measures, and repeatable signs. Imagination lets us step across gaps, building bridges where the ground is not yet known. Consciousness as a mystery asks us to use both feet. On one side, there are clear studies of neurons, their firing patterns, the ways attention sharpens and fades. On the other, there are speculations about the quantum domain, about faint whispers of coherence and entanglement that might play a hidden role. Between these two, the mind unfolds, like a sail catching winds both strong and subtle. The more we learn about the brain, the more we see how extraordinary it is in its ordinary work. To drink a glass of water, to read these words, to remember a friend's laughter. Each of these acts involves thousands of signals flashing, chemicals binding and releasing, circuits spinning in layers. And yet what you feel is not machinery. What you feel is the simple warmth of thirst quenched, the meaning of words, the echo of love. The transformation from signal to sensation remains the tender heart of the puzzle. Even if the brain explains it all in time, the softness of the experience will always feel like something more than a map. Now drift back into the thought of quantum possibility. Imagine each particle inside you shimmering across possibilities, like dewdrops catching more than one star at once. Imagine microtubules inside neurons holding a fleeting rhythm, sheltering it as though cradling a candle flame in the wind. Imagine entanglement binding distant parts of the brain, not with cords but with quiet sympathy, so that they act together in ways too fine to measure directly. Even if none of this proves to be true, the vis. Ion itself carries wonder. It invites us to see consciousness as not just a product of cells, but as part of a deeper fabric, woven into the same laws that light the stars and guide the galaxies. It may be that future science confirms the opposite, that the brain alone, through its architecture and chemistry, is fully enough to explain awareness. If so, the story is no less poetic. For in that view, evolution sculpted networks so refined that they can reflect the universe back to itself. The poetry lies not only in quantum mystery, but in the sheer creativity of life. Out of oceans and sunlight, out of carbon and time, rose a mind that can think about its own thinking. That alone is wonder enough to fill a lifetime. The metaphor of stars continues to guide us. When you gaze into the night sky, you see light that began its journey long before you were born. The photons that strike your eyes tonight may have left their stars when the first humans carved tools of stone. Consciousness may be like that, an inheritance from long ago, carried forward through layers of matter and motion, until it glows softly within you. Whether it is built by quantum threads or by networks of biology, it carries the same majesty. It is the cosmos aware of itself. What does it mean then to hold such awareness? It means to live with both mystery and clarity, to feel thirst and love and sadness, and to know you are the one who feels them. It means to see your thoughts as both fleeting and real, like waves that rise and vanish but still belong to the same ocean. It means to carry the spark of the stars not just in your body, but in your mind's quiet glow. You are the witness of your own being, and in that witness lies the most intimate and profound gift nature has given. Philosophers have long spoken of the self as a mirror. The mirror reflects, but it does not add. It shows what is without being the thing itself. Consciousness may be such a mirror, reflecting the vast workings of the brain, but in doing so it feels as though it stands apart like a watcher on the hill. Whether that watcher is an emergent property of matter or a quantum shimmer, the feeling remains. You are here, aware of being aware. This awareness does not need solving tonight. It only needs cherishing. If you lean into silence, you may sense how delicate awareness is. A small injury, a shift in chemistry, and it can change or dim. It feels like a flame, bright but fragile. And yet it is also strong, enduring across decades, carrying identity through storms of time. You remain yourself, even as thoughts and feelings shift. Something holds continuity, something says, I, even when everything else transforms. That continuity is the mystery at the heart of life. Whether it is written in circuits or in quantum rules, it remains a secret treasure, a pearl the mind cannot quite open, but can always admire. Let's pause with the body. Place your hand against your chest. Feel the heart beating. Each beat is a rhythm that has carried you through every moment since before your birth. This rhythm supports the mind, feeds it, sustains it. Consciousness is tied to it, nourished by the flow of blood and oxygen. The body and the mind are one dance, never separate, and within this dance, perhaps quantum whispers sing, or perhaps they do not. But the harmony of body and mind is beautiful enough. It is a reminder that the miracle of awareness is not floating in isolation, but is rooted in the soil of flesh and breath. Dreams return as another clue. In dreams, the mind builds entire worlds, full of faces and voices, full of fears and joys. These worlds vanish when you wake, but their reality while you sleep cannot be denied. They show how the mind creates experience, whole and convincing, from within itself. They remind us that consciousness is not just a mirror, but also a painter. It reflects the world, but it can also paint new worlds, even if they last only for the span of a night. If quantum whispers play a part in this painting, they do so like the hidden hues in a rainbow, unseen directly, but lending richness to the whole. The question of free will lingers, gentle but persistent. Do you choose, or are you chosen by your brain's hidden processes? If quantum chance enters the story, it may offer a kind of openness, a space where choice is not entirely determined. But even without it, the layering of memory, value, and reason gives shape to decision. Whether freedom is full or partial, what matters is the experience of choice, the sense of standing at a crossroads and moving forward. That experience is real, and it shapes your life like footsteps shape a path through grass. In the end, consciousness as a quantum mystery remains an open door. Beyond it lies either confirmation or refutation, or perhaps something entirely new. Science will keep knocking, asking, testing. Philosophy will keep wondering, weaving meanings. And you, simply by being aware, will keep living the quest. In every moment, the open door is not a problem to solve, but a threshold to appreciate. Beyond it lies the unknown, but here, where you stand, is the known. You breathe, you think, you feel, you are. So let us close gently, like folding a letter into an envelope. Consciousness, whether born of circuits or of quantum threads, is the tender witness of life. It is the shimmer that lets you see stars, the warmth that lets you feel love, the quiet that lets you rest. It is both fragile and vast, both fleeting and enduring. It is the flicker between neurons and stars, the candle and the sky, the river and the ocean. And as you drift into stillness, you can hold this thought softly. You are part of a mystery as deep as the universe, and the universe is part of you. There is a silence that hums beneath every thought, as if the mind itself were built upon a bed of whispers too faint for ordinary hearing. Imagine, for a moment, the smallest parts of the universe, particles so tiny they seem to vanish even as we try to see them. These particles drift like dust in moonlight, carrying with them both position and possibility. Some scientists believe that within their faint movements may lie the hidden seeds of thought itself. The brain, in all its richness, may be not only a machine of neurons, but also a garden of particles whispering in quantum tongues. Each neuron is alive with its own electric language. Tiny pulses called action potentials rise and fall, sending sparks of communication along delicate fibers. But beneath these visible rhythms, inside the scaffolding of the cell, smaller worlds exist. Microtubules like hollow reeds stretch through the neuron's body. Their lattice is ordered yet flexible, an architecture that both supports and sings. In these narrow halls, some researchers imagine that quantum states may flicker, not vanishing instantly, but lasting just long enough to influence the orchestra of the brain. These would be the whispering particles of thought, too quiet to hear, too brief to hold, but perhaps strong enough to shape awareness. Consider how a single memory arises. A song plays, and at once you are carried back, perhaps to a childhood room with sunlight drifting across the floor. In that instant, networks of neurons awaken, distant parts of the brain light up together, and the unity of the scene is restored. Yet the memory feels whole, not fractured. It feels like a single whisper carried intact through time. This seamlessness remains a puzzle. Some scientists argue it is the product of circuits alone, finely tuned by evolution. Others suspect that quantum coherence, even fleeting, may help glue the parts together into one fluid echo. In this view, thought itself is not only electric but also quantum, a tapestry woven of sparks and whispers. Now drift into the metaphor of wind moving through a forest. You cannot see the air itself, yet you watch the trees sway in unison, as if the invisible carried its own rhythm. The brain may sway like this, guided by signals we cannot yet measure directly. If quantum processes guide neurons subtly, they would not shout, they would nudge. The nudge would be like a faint rhythm inside the larger song, aligning the music of neurons across vast networks. Just as wind guides the dance of leaves without ever being seen, quantum whispers could guide the dance of thought. But why should we imagine such whispers at all? Because the brain is more than a collection of parts, it is a mystery of unity. Billions of cells fire independently, and yet your experience is one. You do not feel the parts, you feel the whole. Philosophers call this the binding problem, how many separate sparks become a single flame of awareness. Biology offers answers in timing and integration, in loops of communication that bind signals into patterns. Still, the flame feels smoother than the wiring suggests. Quantum whispers, if they exist, would add an unseen harmony, like the overtone in a bell that gives it warmth beyond the simple note. The whispers may also explain the fleeting and delicate nature of thought. A notion arises, then vanishes like a bird in flight. A dream paints itself across your sleeping mind, only to dissolve when you awaken. Consciousness is fluid, unstable, always shifting. Quantum states share this fragility. They collapse when observed, they fade quickly, they resist permanence. Perhaps the mind's shifting texture reflects this same fragility, a consciousness that glows only as long as the particles whisper together, collapsing back into silence when the harmony breaks. Let us pause and feel this in the body. Close your eyes and notice the stream of thought. Images come, linger for a moment, then go. Beneath them is a stillness, a quiet field in which they arise. The whispers of particles may be like that field, unseen, intangible, but necessary for the song to play at all. Without the silence of the field, there would be no room for thought, without the faint harmonies, there might be no unity to bind the stream. Awareness, then, could be the music of matter itself, humming softly in patterns too fine for ordinary senses. Scientists argue about this. Many say the warmth and noise of the brain destroy such delicate states instantly. Quantum coherence, they explain, cannot last in such a crowded place. Others counter with possibilities, pockets of order, sheltered spaces within cells where quantum states may survive longer than expected. The truth remains uncertain, suspended like dust in sunlight. But whether the whispers exist or not, the metaphor remains powerful. It reminds us that thought itself feels like a whisper, soft, transient, and yet capable of reshaping the whole of experience. Think now of entanglement, that strange bond where two particles remain linked, no matter how far they drift apart. If the mind were to hold even a trace of this, then distant neurons could share a hidden thread, helping them act in unity. Entanglement would not send messages. It would simply keep patterns aligned, like distant dancers moving to the same unheard beat. The brain's vast networks could use such threads to sustain coherence, allowing you to feel not scattered but whole. Even if no such entanglement exists, the image itself mirrors the truth. Your thoughts are distant dancers, yet somehow they belong to one dance. We can extend this thought to creativity. When an idea suddenly appears, as if out of nowhere, it feels less like construction and more like revelation. The pieces were scattered and then they aligned. The whispers of particles could be the hidden rhythm guiding this alignment, tipping the balance at just the right moment. Creativity would then be the blossoming of coherence, the sudden flowering of patterns into something whole. Whether this is biological or quantum, the experience remains poetic, thought as a whisper that becomes a song. Even the act of choice may hold traces of this mystery. When you decide, there is a pause, a moment of openness. Possibilities shimmer, then one is chosen. This feels not mechanical but alive, like a particle collapsing from many states into one. Perhaps the mind, too, hovers between possibilities before selecting. The choice may still be shaped by memory, by value, by habit, but the openness feels real, like a window where whispers sway the balance. Free will in this view is not absolute control, but a dance with possibility, a moment where the whispers of thought help shape the path. As we close this opening section, let us rest in the metaphor itself. Thought is a whisper, fragile yet profound. It is carried by neurons, but perhaps also by particles flickering in and out of coherence. It may be explained entirely by biology, or it may one day reveal deeper roots in the quantum world. Either way, it is beautiful, for within each thought lies the universe itself, atoms born in stars, dancing in your brain, shaping memories and dreams. To listen to thought is to listen to the cosmos in miniature, whispering softly within you. And as you breathe, you carry the whispers forward, adding your own song to the symphony of being. Let us sink deeper into the hidden chamber of whispers, where thought and matter weave a fabric too fine for the eye to see. Imagine sitting in a quiet library at night, where the shelves are lined not with books but with possibilities. Each possibility is like a particle waiting for the gentle touch of awareness to bring it into focus. Consciousness moves down the aisles, brushing against spines of unwritten volumes, and in that soft brushing, one story unfolds while countless others remain unopened. This is how the whispers of particles may feel, endless options narrowed into a single now. The brain is not still, even in its quietest hours. Beneath the hush of sleep, waves ripple through its networks, carrying fragments of memory, dreams, and learning. Some regions spark as if replaying the day's scenes, while others drift into strange, unfamiliar images. The whispers of particles might slip into these dreams, shaping their strangeness. A small shimmer at the quantum scale could tip one neuron into firing and silence another, and from this, whole dreamscapes bloom. The surreal nature of dreams, fluid, impossible, yet convincing, may reflect the fluid probabilities of the smallest scales, where certainty is always delayed until the last possible moment. Consider the fragility of awareness under anesthesia, where a chemical veil settles over the mind. Neurons still fire, but the choir loses its harmony. Consciousness fades like a lantern dimming beneath fog. Some researchers suggest that this fog disrupts not only chemical flows, but also any subtle quantum coherence that might exist. If the whispers of particles do play a role in binding awareness together, then anesthesia may hush those whispers, scattering them before they can align. When the veil lifts, the whispers may return, and awareness gathers itself once more. Whether true or not, the metaphor is haunting, for it frames the self as something that can be dispersed like mist and then reformed, fragile yet resilient. Now think of memory again, not as a storehouse but as a living forest. Each tree is a moment, each branch a detail, each leaf a sensation. To recall is not to retrieve but to regrow, to allow the forest to bloom again in miniature. In this regrowth, the whispers may play their part. Tiny quantum nudges could help align the scattered seeds of detail, helping them sprout together into a coherent scene. This may explain why memories feel whole when they return, even though they were stored in fragments across distant regions. The whispers would be like a hidden gardener guiding growth with a hand too subtle to see. Entanglement offers another metaphor for memory. When you recall a place, you may also recall its emotions, its smells, its textures all at once. These details were stored apart, yet they return entangled, inseparable. You cannot summon the room without also summoning the mood. Perhaps the mind itself entangles fragments so that they belong together, as particles do when linked. Even if no literal entanglement occurs, the effect feels the same. Distant parts of the brain act as though bound, giving you a memory not of parts but of a whole. Let us also reflect on creativity as a flowering of whispers. An idea may form when two distant concepts, unrelated in the ordinary map of the brain, suddenly align. A scientist dreams of equations while gazing at falling apples. An artist sees colors in the sound of a violin. These leaps are not linear, they are sudden convergences. Quantum whispers could help bridge these distances, nudging separate sparks into resonance. The result feels miraculous, as though the mind had touched something beyond itself. Creativity may be the voice of coherence, a whisper of the cosmos echoed in human thought. The role of randomness cannot be ignored. Particles are not predictable in the way pebbles are. Their paths shimmer with probability, and outcomes are revealed only when measured. The mind, too, carries randomness. A thought arises unexpectedly, a decision tips one way instead of another, a dream twists into strangeness. If the mind harnesses quantum chance, then this randomness may not be noise but potential, an opening for novelty. It allows the new to arise, the unplanned to exist. Without such openness, consciousness might be only repetition. With it, there is growth, surprise, even freedom. Yet freedom is never absolute. The brain is shaped by biology, by history, by memory, by culture. The whispers of particles, if they exist, would not erase these influences. They would only add softness, a space of possibility within constraint. Choice would still be rooted in who you are, but it would also carry the shimmer of the unknown. In this way, freedom is like sunlight filtering through trees. The forest shapes the light, but the flickering patterns on the ground are never fully predictable. They dance, alive with chance, yet shaped by structure. So too does the self, shaped yet free, guided yet open. Some scientists resist these ideas, insisting that classical biology is enough. They show how networks synchronize, how patterns integrate, how signals spread across the brain like wildfire. And they are right, much can be explained this way. But even if neurons explain the mechanisms, the whispers remain as a metaphor for the feeling itself. Consciousness feels delicate, shimmering, fluid. It feels more like probability than certainty, more like a whisper than a shout. Science may one day show that this feeling arises from the richness of classical processes, or it may reveal that quantum rules truly guide it. Until then, the metaphor holds power, offering a language for the indescribable. Let us step back into the body. Imagine lifting your hand and watching the fingers curl. Beneath this simple motion lies an orchestra of muscles, nerves, and circuits, and yet the motion feels unified. It is not the contraction of parts you feel, it is the gesture as a whole. This is the same mystery as thought itself, the unity of many into one. Perhaps whispers help, aligning signals into coherence, or perhaps the brain's architecture alone explains it. Either way, the unity remains astonishing. A constant reminder that the simplest acts hold infinite depth. Now drift toward meditation, where awareness quiets and thought grows slow. In such stillness, the whispers may be felt more clearly. The mind feels vast, like a sky without clouds. Thoughts appear as gentle wisps, then dissolve. Some describe the feeling as touching the ground of being, as though resting in the silence beneath thought itself. This could be nothing more than biology, networks aligning into calm rhythms. Or it could be a glimpse of coherence, of particles whispering together. Either way, the experience is profound. It reminds us that awareness is not only thought but also silence, not only sparks but also the space that holds them. Dreams too return as fragile worlds built of whispers. They remind us that the mind can create whole universes, complete with landscapes and faces, emotions and stories, all from within. These worlds are fleeting, vanishing at dawn, but while they last, they are real. They show the mind's power to generate reality itself, however temporary. This power may arise from the flexibility of networks, or it may be guided by deeper laws. The whispers would fit here, shaping the dream's fluidity, making its strangeness feel both impossible and inevitable. Dreams are proof that consciousness is not bound only to the present. It can create entire realms on the canvas of night. Let us close this section with the stars once more. Look up at the night sky and imagine the particles that make up your mind are the same as those burning in distant suns. The whispers within you are echoes of cosmic whispers, the same laws that shape galaxies shaping your thoughts. Whether or not quantum coherence is part of consciousness, the truth remains. Your mind is a child of the cosmos. Its whispers are the universe speaking softly to itself through you in the quiet language of being. The night has grown long, and the questions feel like gentle tides, pulling us deeper into the sea of thought. Consciousness remains a mystery, shimmering at the edge of science and poetry alike. As we move toward closure, let us follow the whispers one last time, tracing how they may carry not only thought but also meaning, not only awareness but also wonder. For in the end, the mystery is not about solving consciousness as though it were a puzzle. It is about resting in the miracle that we are conscious at all. The whispers of particles invite us to see the mind as a bridge between worlds, the tangible and the intangible, the measurable and the ineffable. Neurons and synapses form the visible scaffolding, but beneath them, the possibility of quantum patterns suggests a hidden foundation, subtle as breath on glass. This bridge makes the self feel whole. When you open your eyes in the morning, when you feel the warmth of light across your face, when you hear the soft murmur of voices around you, it is the bridge that lets all these threads join into a single fabric of experience. Whether this bridge is built of biology alone or also of quantum whispers, it holds you in its quiet strength. Meaning itself may be woven from these whispers. Think of how language unfolds. Words are only sounds, but when arranged, they carry memory, promise, and love. The same is true of thought. Electrical signals by themselves mean nothing. It is only in their arrangement that significance arises. Some suggest that quantum coherence may help align these signals into wholes that carry meaning. Just as a chord carries more than its notes, awareness carries more than its signals. Meaning blooms from unity, and unity may be sustained by whispers too fine to measure. In this way, the particles of thought are not only physical, they are poetic. Consider how emotion colors awareness. Joy brightens the world, sorrow dims it, calm makes it wide and steady. Emotions arise from chemical messengers and circuits deep in the brain, yet they transform consciousness entirely. They are not added on top of thought, they suffuse it like dye poured into water. The whispers of particles, if real, would not create emotion but might shape how it flows, how it spreads through the brain. Entanglement could explain why a memory can return not just as an image, but as a feeling, inseparable from the moment it recalls. Emotion is not part of thought, it is thought, colored and alive. Choice too lives in this space. Each moment holds possibilities, shimmering like branches of a path. The mind steps down one branch and the others vanish as if collapsed into silence. The metaphor mirrors the quantum world, where particles hover in many states until one is chosen by observation. Consciousness may be the same, a space of shimmering futures narrowing into a single now. If so, then every decision you make is a collapse, a transformation of probability into presence. This gives each choice a weight both humble and immense. You are not only living, you are shaping reality with every breath. Now turn to the sense of self, the quiet center that says, I. It feels like the most stable part of experience, yet it is built from shifting streams of thought, memory, and sensation. Neuroscience shows us that the self is not a single place in the brain, but a network of many regions. It is a story told in the present, drawing on the past and reaching into the future. The whispers of particles may help hold this story together, giving it continuity beyond the scatter of parts. Or perhaps the story needs no whispers, only the intricate weaving of biology. Either way, the self remains the deepest wonder. The universe aware of itself through the fragile lens of a human life. Let us drift to meditation once more. In stillness, the sense of self can soften. Boundaries blur and awareness feels vast, like the night sky itself. Some describe this as unity with the cosmos, as though the whispers of particles within the mind resonate with the greater fabric of the universe. Whether mystical or neurological, the feeling is profound. The self dissolves, and only awareness remains, wide and clear. This state shows us that consciousness is not fixed but flexible. It can narrow to a single thought or widen to hold the world. The whispers, if they exist, may be the strings of this flexibility, tuning the mind from solitude to vastness. Dreams return for a final time, carrying lessons of impermanence. Each dream feels real while it lasts, yet it vanishes with morning light. So too may consciousness itself be a dream of matter, a temporary configuration of particles whispering together. The dream lasts as long as the body lasts, then dissolves back into silence. But during its span, it is luminous, filled with beauty and pain, joy and longing. To call it a dream is not to diminish it, but to honor its fragility. Consciousness is both fleeting and infinite, like the night sky reflected in a drop of water. The whispers of particles remind us that we are never separate from the cosmos. The atoms in your body were born in stars. The laws that govern their dance are the same laws that govern galaxies. If quantum rules shape consciousness, then your awareness is not merely human, it is cosmic, a direct expression of the universe's hidden order. And even if those rules play no role, the truth remains. You are made of stardust, and your mind is the cosmos reflecting on itself. This is the poetry of science, not to strip mystery away, but to reveal deeper mysteries within. So let us close as gently as we began, with a reflection as soft as twilight. Consciousness may be a quantum mystery, or it may be a miracle of classical biology. The truth may come one day through experiments yet to be dreamed, but tonight the question itself is enough. For to ask it is to awaken wonder, to feel the whispers of thought not only as puzzles but as gifts. The mystery invites us to listen, not for answers, but for the quiet music of being alive. As you breathe, let the whispers settle. Let them drift like wind through trees, like stars across water, like thoughts across silence. Know that you are part of this vast unfolding, a moment of awareness in a universe that sings softly to itself. Whether guided by quantum whispers or not, your consciousness is real, luminous, and precious. It is the candle in the dark, the river in the night, the whisper in the silence. And in its gentle glow, you find not only the mystery of thought, but the miracle of being. Dreams arrive like lanterns drifting across a midnight lake, glowing softly and fading into mist. They carry stories that feel both intimate and impossible, stitched together from memory, emotion, and imagination. When you awaken, they often dissolve like snow on warm skin, leaving behind only fragments. Yet in their fleeting beauty lies a profound clue. Perhaps the mind itself is a dream, and consciousness is light written upon the canvas of night. Some scientists wonder whether this light has roots not only in biology, but also in the hidden rules of quantum physics. Could it be that the strange, luminous qualities of dreams reflect the same luminous patterns of particles at the smallest scales? When the brain drifts into sleep, its rhythms change. The steady signals of waking life give way to waves of slow oscillations, punctuated by bursts of vivid activity. During rapid eye movement sleep, the stage most filled with dreams, neurons fire as if the brain were wide awake. Yet the body lies still, paralyzed in a gentle safety so the dream does not spill into motion. The dream world rises from this paradox. The brain is alive with activity, but it is activity freed from the anchors of external input. Thoughts wander unbound, and in that wandering, light seems to write itself across the mind. Perhaps these lights are classical sparks of neurons alone, or perhaps they are influenced by whispers of coherence, quantum flickers that let distant regions align into seamless scenes. Consider the dream of flight. You soar above mountains, feel the rush of air against your skin, see the world shrink beneath you. None of this is happening in the body, yet the experience feels whole. Dreams weave sensory details so convincingly that they rival waking life. The unity of such experience puzzles scientists, for the signals arise from scattered regions of the brain. Still, in the dream, there is no scatter. There is only the single, luminous now. If quantum harmonies help bind signals into wholeness, dreams may be their most delicate canvas, free from the noise of the outside world, allowing coherence to shimmer more freely. Dreams also blur time. In moments, years can pass or entire journeys can unfold. The sense of duration dissolves, leaving only narrative flow. Quantum physics also blurs time at its edges. Particles do not move in a straight line from past to future. They spread across possibilities, and only when measured does one timeline appear. Dreams mirror this uncertainty, bending time into loops, expanding or contracting it with ease. Perhaps the kinship is only metaphor, yet it feels resonant. Both dreams and quantum worlds resist the rigid tick of the clock. Both shimmer with possibilities before collapsing into a single thread. Within the cells of the brain, there may be tiny structures that protect fragile order. Microtubules, as imagined by some theories, could host fleeting coherence. During waking life, the constant noise of perception may disrupt this order. But in dreams, with the gates of sensory input mostly closed, there may be more space for hidden harmonies to arise. The mind becomes a stage lit not by daylight, but by its own internal glow. The dream may then be quantum light written freely, guided less by the world outside and more by the probabilities within. Yet not all dreams are luminous. Some are dark, filled with fear or confusion. Nightmares remind us that the same processes that weave beauty can also weave shadows. The whispers of particles, if they play a role, would not choose the content of dreams. They would only shape the coherence, the binding, the flow. The stories themselves arise from memory, emotion, and the deep tides of the unconscious. Still, even in nightmare, there is unity. The terror feels whole, complete, and real. The coherence remains, though colored by shadow rather than light. Reflect on the way dreams echo waking life. A worry carries into sleep and becomes a tangled chase. A joy reappears as a radiant vision. Dreams are not separate worlds, but reflections, altered and refracted. In physics, particles reflect two shifting states depending on the conditions they meet. The dream world may mirror this, shaping itself from the conditions of the mind, bending memory and desire into luminous forms. In both, there is a sense of the conditional, of reality not being fixed but shaped by context. Light itself bends, refracts, and interferes, painting patterns across space. Dreams, too, are interference patterns of memory and imagination, woven into temporary realities that dissolve at dawn. Now imagine drifting into sleep, your breathing slow, your body still. Neurons fire quietly, then more vividly, painting images onto the inner screen. These images are made not of light but of thought, yet they shine within you as though illuminated. To dream is to hold a private cosmos, vast yet fleeting. Whether quantum rules touch this process or not, the feeling is unmistakable. You are walking through worlds made of light softer than any morning sun. And when you awaken, you carry the glow, even if only as a trace in your chest. This glow is the gift of dreams, reminding you that consciousness is not bound to the present moment, but can create new worlds in silence. Some scientists suggest that dreams serve practical roles. They help consolidate memory, prune unnecessary connections, rehearse skills, and process emotion. But these explanations do not capture the poetry of the dream experience itself. They describe the machinery but not the glow. Perhaps the glow requires another layer of explanation, one that does not exclude biology but enriches it. Quantum possibilities may offer such enrichment, suggesting that the dream is not only function but also art, light written in patterns that reflect both matter and mystery. As we pause in this first section, hold the image of a dream like a lantern on water. It drifts, fragile and bright, leaving ripples in its wake. The ripples are your feelings upon waking, the quiet wonder at what your mind can create. Whether or not quantum whispers guide the lantern's glow, the fact that it shines at all is miracle enough. For in dreams, you glimpse the creativity of consciousness itself, the ability to write light upon the dark, to make worlds from whispers, to carry meaning into silence. And in that glow, you see not only the mystery of the mind, but the echo of the cosmos, forever writing itself in light. Let us wander further into the dream, into the deep night where imagination is free to breathe without limits. In this quiet space, the mind becomes a painter of light, dipping its brush into memory, emotion, and possibility. Each stroke feels alive, though no canvas can ever be touched. Dreams are not bound by weight or distance. You can walk across oceans, speak with the departed, or watch the sky fall in colors never seen in waking life. What is this strange theater, and why does it feel so real? Some believe it is the mind rehearsing and remembering. Others wonder whether it is the flicker of quantum light, weaving scenes too. Fluid to be held by ordinary rules. Dreams show us how consciousness bends reality. The laws of waking physics yield to softer ones, where walls melt, time folds, and gravity releases its hold. Yet while the content is unbound, the experience still feels unified. You do not perceive fragments, you perceive worlds. This seamlessness is striking. How does the brain bind fragments into one dreamscape? Some scientists suggest it is simply the integration of neural networks. Others imagine hidden coherence, delicate harmonies at the quantum scale that hold the dream together just long enough to be lived. The truth remains unknown, but the mystery itself glows like the dream it seeks to explain. Memory plays a central role here. Dreams often take scraps of daily life, a sound, a face, a worry, and transform them into stories. The hippocampus, deep in the brain, replays patterns during sleep, strengthening some, fading others. This replay is like threads being rewoven into stronger cloth, yet the way these threads are woven feels more poetic than mechanical. You may dream of walking through a house you lived in years ago, yet the rooms have changed, hallways twist, and the people inside are both familiar and strange. This blending feels like the play of probabilities, of states overlapping before one emerges. Dreams seem to mirror the quantum world, where uncertainty is not a flaw but a fundamental truth. Consider also the emotional weight of dreams. A dream may bring joy so intense you awaken smiling, or fear so sharp it lingers long after dawn. The emotional brain is deeply engaged in dreaming, its circuits lit brightly while logic rests. Perhaps this is why dreams feel more like poetry than prose, more like painting than calculation. Emotions flow freely, coloring every scene. If quantum whispers are present, they may not dictate the story but help sustain the emotional unity, letting memory and feeling intertwine. Just as entangled particles share a fate across distance, perhaps the brain entangles image and emotion, so that a single scene becomes inseparable from the feeling it evokes. Time in dreams is fluid. Hours may pass in a heartbeat, or a moment may stretch into eternity. This bending of time is not unique to dreams. It echoes phenomena in physics where time itself is not absolute but relative, stretching and shrinking depending on motion and gravity. At the quantum level, particles exist in timeless states until interaction defines their moment. Dreams, too, seem timeless until you awaken. They feel eternal while they last, then vanish instantly, leaving behind only traces. Perhaps this similarity is coincidence, or perhaps the bending of time in both realms speaks to a shared foundation, a rule that links mind and matter through flexibility rather than rigidity. There is also creativity in dreaming, unmatched by waking thought. A composer may hear new melodies, a writer new plots, an inventor new ideas, all carried from dream into daylight. Where does this creativity come from? The mind in dreams seems freer, less bound by linear reasoning, more open to unlikely combinations. This openness resembles the quantum principle of superposition, where particles exist in multiple states at once. Dreams may be the mental expression of such multiplicity, where ideas coexist and merge, where boundaries dissolve and new patterns emerge. Out of this fluidity, creativity blossoms, carrying its light into the waking world. Now picture the dream as a kind of laboratory where the mind experiments with self. In waking life, the self feels stable, continuous, but in dreams you may shift roles, become someone else, or even dissolve entirely. The sense of self is flexible, stretching and shrinking like a reflection in water. This shows that identity is not fixed but constructed moment by moment, even in sleep. Perhaps the whispers of quantum light help sustain the coherence of whatever self arises, keeping the experience unified even as its form changes. The self, like the dream, may be more fluid than we imagine, always shimmering, always shifting, yet always felt as whole. Dreams also carry healing. Traumas may replay, softened by new contexts. Fears may be rehearsed and faced in safe landscapes. Joys may be relived, nourishing the heart. Neuroscience tells us that sleep strengthens emotional regulation, and dreaming is part of that process. But the healing quality feels deeper, as if the mind were not only repairing itself but weaving meaning. Meaning may emerge from the alignment of disparate elements, guided by coherence at levels we do not yet fully see. In this way, dreams become not only stories but medicines, their light written across the night to mend what is frayed. Some dreams feel prophetic, though science explains them as coincidence or subconscious pattern recognition. Still, the feeling remains powerful. To dream of an event and then watch it unfold later feels uncanny, as if the dream reached Bayo. ND time, physics tells us that at the quantum level, outcomes are not fixed until measured. Until then, they exist as possibilities. Dreams, too, may explore possibilities, some of which align with future events simply because they were among the countless paths the mind imagined. Whether mystical or probabilistic, the feeling of prophecy adds to the sense that dreams are more than idle play. They are windows into the vastness of possibility. Let us not forget the strangeness of shared dreams. Two people may report dreaming of each other or of similar places. Science sees this as coincidence or as shared influences shaping both dreams. But the imagination reaches further. What if consciousness itself has subtle ways of resonating, aligning across distance like entangled particles? If dreams are written in quantum light, perhaps their pages sometimes overlap, faintly but meaningfully. Even if this remains unproven, the thought itself reflects the unity we often feel with others, the sense that our inner worlds are not separate but connected by invisible threads. As we drift toward the end of this section, hold the image of dreams as a cathedral of light, built each night in silence and dismantled each morning at dawn. The cathedral may be fragile, but while it stands, it is filled with meaning, beauty, and mystery. Its stones are memories, its windows emotions, its arches imagination. And perhaps its foundation is quantum, particles whispering together, holding coherence long enough for the dream to shine. Whether this is literal truth or metaphor, the cathedral reminds us of the vast creativity of consciousness. It is a nightly miracle, a gift of light written in silence, inviting us to wonder anew at the depths of the mind. The final hours of night are often the most dream-filled, as if the mind, sensing the approach of dawn, releases its last reservoirs of imagination in a rush of light. Dreams in these hours feel especially vivid, their colors brighter, their stories more complete. When you awaken, they linger like mist on the edges of memory, haunting and tender. To close our journey into the luminous theater of dreams, let us wander through their deepest meanings and ask what they reveal not only about the brain, but also about the strange unity between consciousness and the cosmos. In every dream, there is a tension between illusion and truth. While dreaming, the experience feels undeniable. The ground is solid, the air moves against your skin, voices speak, and you respond. Yet upon waking, you know none of it happened. Still, the feelings are real. Fear races the heart, joy leaves a glow, grief brings tears. This paradox shows that consciousness is not limited to what is objectively real. It can create realities within itself, worlds that exist only for the dreamer but matter nonetheless. If quantum light plays a role here, it would be in sustaining the coherence of these inner worlds, allowing them to exist whole, if only for a breath of time. The unity of dream experience echoes the unity of waking consciousness. Billions of neurons fire independently, yet you perceive one seamless world. In dreams, where external input is reduced, the brain must rely almost entirely on internal signals, yet the unity remains. This suggests that consciousness has deep mechanisms for binding, mechanisms that may be helped by subtle harmonies. Just as light waves interfere and align to create patterns of brightness, perhaps thought waves, whether classical or quantum, align to create the brightness of dream reality. The dream becomes a luminous interference pattern, holding together fragments of memory, feeling, and imagination in a fragile whole. Time in dreams is both generous and strange. You can live entire lives in the space of minutes or repeat a single moment endlessly. Upon waking, you realize that the clock was unmoved by these journeys, yet inside the dream, time felt full and convincing. This malleability reveals something profound. Consciousness does not measure time as clocks do. It measures it in the density of experience. A single moment filled with wonder can feel infinite, while hours of monotony can vanish unnoticed. Quantum physics also reveals that time is not fundamental but emergent, shaped by relationships and interactions. Dreams may mirror this truth, showing us that time is not a rigid container but a pliant fabric woven by awareness. The sense of self within dreams also teaches us. Often you feel yourself in the dream with continuity of identity, yet sometimes the self shifts. You may be a different person or many people or no one at all. You may watch events unfold as if from outside your body, yet still know they belong to you. This fluidity suggests that the self is not fixed but constructed moment by moment, even in waking life. Dreams expose the seams of identity, showing us how easily it can be remade. Perhaps the whispers of quantum light provide stability to whatever self is assembled, giving coherence to the ever-shifting role. Or perhaps the stability comes only from the brain's classical networks. Either way, the dream reminds us that the self is a performance, always in flux, yet always whole while it lasts. Dreams can also feel like doorways to the unknown. Many cultures throughout history have treated dreams as messages, from gods, from spirits, from ancestors. Science interprets them more modestly as echoes of memory and emotion. Yet the feeling of revelation cannot be denied. To dream of a truth not yet realized, or of a possibility that later comes to pass, feels uncanny, as if the dream touched something beyond time. Perhaps this is coincidence, or pattern recognition, or the brain exploring probabilities like a quantum system. Whatever the explanation, the experience reminds us that dreams carry more than mere fragments. They carry meaning, sometimes profound enough to alter the waking life that follows. Consider the creativity that dreams give birth to. A melody heard in sleep may become a symphony. A vision may spark a painting. A strange image may seed a scientific insight. These gifts emerge from the looseness of dreaming, where the mind is free to connect distant ideas. In quantum terms, it is as if the mind holds many superpositions at once, and from their blending emerges something entirely new. Dreams are not bound by linear logic, and so they can leap across distances the waking mind hesitates to cross. This leaping is the light of creation, the glow that writes new lines upon the fabric of thought. Not all dreams are gifts, some are burdens. Nightmares arrive with the weight of fear, replaying traumas or conjuring new terrors. They remind us that the same powers that create joy can create darkness, yet even nightmares can be healing. By replaying fear in safe conditions, the mind may soften its edge. By confronting terror in dreams, the waking self may learn resilience. Nightmares are the shadows of the cathedral of light, and without them, its beauty would be incomplete. For light and shadow are inseparable, in dreams as in the universe. Quantum physics teaches us this too. Particles exist as waves, waves collapse into particles, certainty arises from uncertainty, and both are needed for reality to exist. Now let us imagine the dream as a mirror of the cosmos. Within you, particles move, governed by laws that also shape galaxies. Your dreams, built of neurons and whispers, are thus built of the same fabric as stars. The creativity of your sleeping mind is a reflection of the creativity of the universe itself. Just as the cosmos birthed galaxies from fluctuations, so your mind births dreams from fluctuations of thought. Both are acts of creation, both are luminous, both are fleeting. To dream is to echo the universe's own act of becoming. As dawn approaches, the dreams begin to fade. Their cathedrals dissolve, their lanterns drift into mist, yet they leave traces, emotions, ideas, a sense of mystery. These traces are like footprints on the shore after the tide has gone. They remind you that something vast passed through, even if you cannot hold it. Consciousness itself may be like this, a fleeting trace of something larger, a glow left behind by processes we do not yet fully understand. Whether quantum or classical, the glow is real, and it is precious. So let us close gently with the image of dreams as light written in silence. They are fragile, yet they illuminate. They vanish, yet they leave warmth. They are illusions, yet they reveal truths. They are private, yet they connect us to the shared mystery of being human. Perhaps they are guided by quantum whispers, or perhaps not. But in their glow, we see what consciousness is capable of, creating worlds, bending time, shaping selves, and carrying meaning. In this glow, we see not only the mind, but the cosmos, forever writing itself in light, forever dreaming itself into being. There is a quiet rhythm beneath all things, a gentle choreography where mind and matter move together. At times, the dance is visible, the sway of branches in the wind, the pulse of a heartbeat, the spark of thought. At other times, it is hidden, unfolding silently at scales too small or too vast for the eye to see. Consciousness is not apart from this dance. It is woven into it, a movement within movements, a silent step in the music of existence. The question that lingers is whether this dance is purely mechanical, or whether its silence carries subtler harmonies that reach into the quantum heart of matter itself. The body is built of matter, yet the mind is built of experience. Still, the two cannot be separated. Every thought arises from the firing of neurons, from the release of chemicals, from the shifting of ions across membranes. Every feeling has a bodily echo, a stirring in the heart, a warmth in the skin, a change in breath. And yet experience feels so different from matter. Matter is weight, texture, extension. Experience is color, sound, memory, love. How do the two belong to one dance? Some say the brain's complexity is enough to explain it. Others wonder if consciousness is an emergent shimmer that arises when matter resonates with quantum laws, becoming more than the sum of its parts. Picture a dancer moving across a stage. The body is matter, muscles, bones, and joints. The movement is pattern, flowing, and continuous. When you watch, you do not see muscles contracting, you see grace. So too with the mind. When neurons fire, the matter is busy, but what you feel is grace, a thought, an awareness, a self. The silent dance of mind and matter transforms mechanics into meaning, just as motion becomes beauty. Perhaps the transformation is purely emergent, requiring no deeper explanation. But perhaps the silence hides quantum rhythms, tiny harmonies that guide the steps. In physics, matter is never still. Even at rest, particles vibrate, fields fluctuate, possibilities hum. The vacuum itself is alive with potential, teeming with pairs of particles appearing and vanishing in less than an instant. If mind is woven into matter, then it too must share in this ceaseless motion. Consciousness may not be a separate flame, but the glow of matter itself, illuminated by its endless dance. If so, then to be aware is to participate in the same rhythms that guide galaxies and atoms alike. The silence of the dance is not absence, but depth, the background hum of existence carrying the music of thought. Some scientists suggest that consciousness arises from information integration. The brain does not merely process signals, it weaves them together into wholes that cannot be reduced to parts. This integration feels like dance, where many movements merge into choreography. The dancer's arm moves, the leg bends, the head tilts, but together they form one gesture, one expression. Similarly, neurons fire, networks activate, memories awaken, and together they form one moment of awareness. The mystery is why this weaving feels like something, why it glows from within. Perhaps it is enough to say that integration itself gives rise to experience. Yet others wonder whether the glow reflects something deeper, whether the weaving hums in tune with quantum rules that underlie all matter. Entanglement offers a striking metaphor. Two particles once linked can remain connected, their states bound across space. Consciousness, too, binds. It connects sights, sounds, emotions, and thoughts into one seamless now. The binding feels instantaneous, even though the brain is a network spread across distance. Some researchers speculate that entanglement may play a role helping far-flung processes remain unified. Even if this proves untrue, the metaphor reveals something essential. Awareness is a binding force, not of matter alone, but of meaning. It entangles memory with perception, body with mind, self with world. Reflect on the body at rest. Breath rises and falls, the heart pulses, cells renew themselves quietly. All this is matter at work, yet as you sit in stillness, you also feel presence. You are aware of breathing, aware of heartbeat, aware of awareness itself. This meta-awareness, the awareness of being aware, is like a dancer who not only moves but watches her own movement in a mirror. Such self-reflection feels uniquely luminous. Matter moves everywhere in the cosmos, but does matter everywhere reflect on itself? Or is consciousness the rare moment where the universe turns inward, watching its own dance from within? If so, then mind is not apart from matter, but matter made self-reflective, quantum fabric given the power to wonder. The silent dance of mind and matter also shows itself in memory. A smell can carry you back decades. A sound can awaken forgotten joy. Matter stores traces of past experience, patterns of synapses, chemical marks on DNA, pathways strengthened by repetition. But the moment of remembering is not just mechanical. It is as if the past becomes present again, dancing anew. Perhaps memory is simply the reactivation of stored networks. Or perhaps memory also carries a quantum shimmer, a way of binding the past into the present that is more fluid than we imagine. Whatever its cause, the experience feels magical, matter reviving time, silence blooming into story. Dreams, too, are part of this dance. The body lies still, yet the mind travels. In sleep, matter rests, but awareness paints entire worlds. The silent dance continues, more abstract, less tethered. Dreams remind us that matter and mind are not two stages but one, where the performance changes but the dancer remains. Some say dreams are rehearsals for survival, practice for emotion, or random firings woven into narrative. Others say they are portals into creativity, evidence of the mind's freedom to move beyond the constraints of waking life. Whatever they are, they reveal the capacity of matter to become meaning, of silence to become song. As we close this first section, imagine the cosmos as a vast ballroom. Particles are dancers, fields are the floor, forces are the music. Within this ballroom, the human brain is one dancer among countless others. Yet in its steps arises something rare, consciousness, the awareness of the dance itself. The silent dance of mind and matter may be ordinary in mechanism, yet extraordinary in experience. Whether guided solely by biology or enriched by quantum whispers, it is a dance worth witnessing, worth cherishing. For in its rhythm lies the miracle of being, the union of matter's silence and mind's song, moving together as one. Let us drift further into the quiet space where mind and matter sway together. If the first steps of the dance are visible, the pulse of neurons, the beating heart, then the deeper steps are hidden, unfolding in subtle harmony. To follow them is to imagine how the physical becomes experiential, how the silent structures of matter turn into the symphony of thought. This mystery has been called the hard problem of consciousness. Why does matter, when arranged in certain patterns, glow with awareness? The question hangs like a lantern in the night, lighting a path that science has not yet walked to its end. Think of the brain as an orchestra. Each neuron is a musician, playing notes of electricity. Signals pass, rhythms emerge, melodies form. Yet when you listen from within, you do not hear the instruments, you hear the music. Consciousness is the music of matter, rising from the coordinated play of countless parts. But what keeps the orchestra in time? Networks and rhythms explain much, but the precision of unity still surprises. Some suggest that hidden coherence, perhaps quantum in nature, may help sustain the harmony. If so, then awareness is not merely music but quantum resonance, a deeper hum that carries the tune. The dance of mind and matter is not limited to thought. It extends into emotion, where matter and meaning fuse seamlessly. A surge of chemicals in the brain can flood you with joy or sorrow, yet what you feel is not chemistry, you feel love, grief, wonder. These are not mere reactions, but experiences that shape your life. The matter is molecules, the mind is meaning, and together they form one rhythm. The union is so complete that it feels impossible to pull apart. To weep is to embody both saltwater and sorrow, matter and mind in perfect duet. Perhaps quantum harmonies are not needed to explain this, but the metaphor of resonance remains. The physical vibrates, the experiential sings. Now consider perception, the gateway between world and self. Light enters the eye, vibrations touch the ear, molecules drift to the nose and tongue, textures press against the skin. These are physical signals transformed into neural codes, but what you experience are colors, sounds, scents, tastes, touches. The transformation is astonishing. How does wavelength become blue? How does frequency become music? Matter dances and mind interprets, and the two are inseparable. Some imagine that consciousness is simply the brain's way of integrating inputs. Others wonder whether perception requires deeper binding, subtle threads that hold sensory signals together into one seamless scene. If such threads are quantum, then perception itself is a quantum painting, light upon light, whisper upon whisper. Entanglement provides another lens. Imagine particles bound together, their states linked across distance. Now imagine your mind binding sight and sound, memory and feeling into one moment of awareness. The parallel is striking. Consciousness is entanglement at another scale, the linking of experiences into unity. Even if no literal quantum entanglement exists in the brain, the metaphor captures the essence. Awareness is not a collection of parts, but a web of connections. You do not experience fragments, you experience wholes. This is the silent dance at its most elegant, parts becoming more than themselves, silence becoming song. Memory deepens the dance, for it ties past to present. A fragrance can carry you decades back, a melody can restore a forgotten hour. The material traces of memory are stored in networks, synapses strengthened, patterns preserved. Yet the moment of remembering feels like more than mechanics. It is as if time itself bends, bringing the past into the present. The experience feels whole, luminous, immediate. Some suggest that coherence, whether classical or quantum, may underlie this unity, allowing scattered traces to converge into one lived recollection. Memory is not just retrieval, it is resurrection, matter bringing forth light from silence. Dreaming adds another step. In dreams, the world is recreated without external input, and yet it feels real. Matter rests, but mind paints. These dream worlds reveal the creativity of consciousness, its power to generate experience without stimulus. Some theories suggest that dreams help process memory and emotion. Others propose that they are byproducts of neural rhythms, but their artistry remains. To fly in a dream, to meet a lost friend, to walk through impossible landscapes. All of this shows that matter and mind can conjure realities beyond waking limits. If quantum whispers guide the coherence of dreams, then they are truly light written upon the silence of matter. Let us pause to reflect on the body itself, for it too shows the silent dance. Muscles contract, blood flows, lungs expand and release. These are mechanical processes, yet when you live them, they feel like vitality, presence, life. To breathe is not only to move air, it is to feel alive. The body is matter, but the felt sense of embodiment is mind. The two never part. Each gesture, each breath is both physical and experiential, bound in a unity that science has yet to explain in full. Perhaps the answer lies only in complexity. Perhaps it lies also in quantum harmonies. Either way, the experience is undeniable. You are not a machine of matter alone, but a dancer whose every step is meaning. Consider also the relationship between attention and awareness. Attention is like a spotlight, illuminating certain parts of experience while leaving others in shadow. It shapes what enters the stage of consciousness, what becomes part of the dance. This selection feels smooth, effortless, and whole. But beneath it are countless processes, signals rising and falling, competing for entry. Some scientists propose that quantum processes could influence these competitions, tipping scales subtly, shaping what becomes conscious. Whether true or not, the metaphor works. Attention is the choreographer, guiding matter into the dance of mind, deciding which steps are seen and which remain in silence. The silent dance of mind and matter reveals itself also in meditation, where thought slows and awareness deepens. In stillness, the boundary between body and mind feels thinner, and the unity of experience shines more brightly. Some describe it as touching the ground of being, a space where matter and mind are one. Perhaps this is simply the brain settling into coherent rhythms. Perhaps it is a glimpse of deeper harmonies, quantum or otherwise. Whatever its nature, it shows that the dance can be quiet, the steps slow, and yet the beauty remains. To meditate is to watch the dancer and the dance become one. In the end, the silent dance is a reminder that consciousness is not apart from matter, but it's flowering. The brain is matter alive with patterns, and from those patterns emerges experience. Whether this emergence is explained fully by biology or also by quantum laws, it remains wondrous. For in the union of silence and song, of particle and perception, lies the essence of being. You are the dance itself, the movement of matter into mind, the flowering of silence into awareness. This is the mystery, and it is enough to fill the night with awe. The final movements of the silent dance unfold like the last notes of a song drifting into stillness. By now the patterns feel familiar, the intertwining of matter and mind, the seamless unity of body and awareness, the suggestion that quantum whispers might hum beneath it all. Yet as we step toward closure, the dance grows softer, more reflective. We are left not with answers, but with an invitation to dwell in wonder, to listen to the silence, to feel the mystery of being alive. Consider the vastness of the cosmos. Galaxies spin, stars burn, particles shimmer in fields unseen. All of this is matter, following laws that physics has traced with elegant precision. Yet within one corner of the cosmos, matter has given rise to awareness. You can look at the stars and know you are looking. You can feel your own breath, your own presence. The universe through you is aware of itself. This is the most intimate step of the dance. The cosmos turning inward, mind and matter meeting in the mirror of consciousness. Whether or not quantum processes are involved, the result is astonishing. Matter alone could have been silent. Instead, it sings. The dance is also temporal. It binds past, present, and future into the flow of experience. Memory carries the past into the present. Imagination projects the future into vision, and awareness gathers it all into now. Time itself feels different in consciousness than in clocks. A moment filled with awe expands, a stretch of routine contracts. Dreams show us even more flexibility, where centuries can unfold in seconds. Physics too suggests that time is not absolute but relative, shaped by perspective. The resonance between physics and experience is haunting. Both suggest that time is not rigid but woven. In the silent dance, mind and matter stitch time together into a fabric of being. Identity emerges as another theme. In waking life, the self feels continuous, yet it is built from fragments. In dreams, the self can dissolve or multiply. In meditation, the self can grow vast, merging with silence. Neuroscience shows that the self is not a single structure, but a network of processes bound together for convenience. Yet the experience of self is luminous, undeniable. Perhaps quantum harmonies, if they exist, help sustain this unity, binding fragments into a whole. Or perhaps the unity is the brain's greatest emergent trick. Either way, the self is a dance step, fleeting yet convincing, fluid yet coherent. It is the thread that ties experience into a story. Emotion colors the dance, painting it in shades of joy, sorrow, fear, or calm. Matter produces emotion through chemistry and circuits, yet mind lives it as meaning. Love is not just oxytocin and dopamine, it is the warmth of a hand, the bond of a gaze, the tenderness of care. Grief is not just cortisol and neural firing, it is the weight in the chest, the ache in the heart, the silence where a voice once was. The silent dance transforms chemistry into meaning, matter into feeling. This alchemy remains one of the deepest mysteries. Perhaps it needs no quantum explanation, but the metaphor of resonance helps us hold it. Matter vibrates, mind sings, and together they create the music of experience. Let us pause with creativity, which feels like the dance at its freest. A painter dreams of colors, a poet shapes silence into words, a scientist glimpses a new pattern in nature. Creativity seems to come from nowhere, as if the mind had tapped into something beyond itself. Quantum physics describes possibilities shimmering before collapse, superpositions of states waiting for resolution. Creativity feels like that shimmering, the mind holding multiple possibilities, then collapsing into one luminous idea. Dreams, too, show this fluidity, generating impossible yet beautiful worlds. Creativity is the dance at its most daring step, where matter and mind leap beyond habit into possibility. Death also belongs to the dance, though it is the step we least wish to face. Matter will one day dissolve and consciousness will fade. What remains then of the silent dance? Some say nothing. The music ends, the dancer rests. Others imagine that the dance continues in another form, that awareness is not bound entirely to matter, but woven into deeper laws of reality. Quantum mysteries sometimes fuel these hopes, with talk of fields and entanglement that might extend beyond life. Science has no final answer, and perhaps never will. Yet the presence of the question itself is meaningful. To know we dance within limits makes each step more precious. To feel the silence that will one day come makes the current music brighter. The silent dance also invites compassion. If consciousness is matter awakened, then every being that feels is part of this dance. The bird in flight, the cat at rest, the child in laughter, all are dancers, all carry awareness in their own way. To see this is to soften, to care, to honor the shared mystery. Quantum or not, the truth is that life itself is precious, each flame fragile, each song unique. Compassion is the natural rhythm that arises when you recognize that others are part of the same dance. It is matter meeting mind, mind meeting meaning, meaning meeting love. Now imagine the final gesture of the dance. The music slows, the dancer bows, the stage grows dim. But the silence that follows is not empty. It is full, resonant, alive. Consciousness too may fade in moments, into sleep, into anesthesia, into death. But the silence it leaves behind is not void. It is mystery, the vastness of the cosmos, the fabric of matter still humming with potential. To live consciously is to join this dance for a time, to hear the music, to move within it, to marvel at its beauty. When it ends, the silence remains, eternal and deep. So let us close gently, like the last note of a lullaby. The silent dance of mind and matter is the essence of being. Whether shaped by neurons alone or also by quantum whispers, it is wondrous. Matter gives rise to mind gives meaning to matter, and together they form a circle of grace. You are both dancer and dance, both silence and song. And as you breathe now, you can feel it, the universe moving within you, the rhythm of life, the silent steps of matter blooming into awareness. This is the mystery, the gift, the truth. The dance continues, even in stillness, even in silence. Awareness is like a mirror, clear yet elusive, always reflecting but never holding. When you pause and notice the quiet presence behind your thoughts, it feels as though something within you is gazing outward and inward at once. This awareness does not seem heavy like matter or fleeting like a passing thought. It seems steady, transparent, silent. Scientists wonder whether this mirror is purely the result of biology, neurons firing in intricate patterns, or whether its clarity reveals something deeper, a quantum shimmer, a reflection of the smallest laws of nature. Thus arises the question, could consciousness itself be a quantum mirror, where awareness is not only of the world but also of the fabric that create? Is the world. The mind is often compared to a mirror in philosophy and poetry. A mirror reflects what stands before it without clinging, without altering the image. Awareness feels similar. Thoughts, feelings, sensations arise and vanish, but awareness remains, simply reflecting. In neuroscience, awareness is tied to global processes, signals shared across wide networks of the brain, integrating into one seamless scene. Yet the metaphor of a quantum mirror suggests that this reflection may be finer still, not only integrating information but sustaining coherence, like a surface so smooth that even the smallest ripples of probability are held and revealed. Consider the nature of reflection itself. A mirror shows both the presence of light and the absence of substance. It is pure surface, holding nothing yet revealing everything. Awareness works the same way. It holds no particular thought, yet it can reveal any thought. It is empty of content, yet full of potential. Quantum mechanics describe states of possibility before they collapse into actual events. Awareness feels like that state of possibility, a space in which any thought, memory, or sensation may arise. It is both nothing and everything, a field of openness shimmering with potential. The body too participates in this mirror. Signals rise from senses and organs, carrying information about the world and the self. These signals are processed, integrated, and presented to awareness as a reflection of reality, yet awareness itself seems untouched. Whether joy or sorrow arises, the mirror reflects it but remains clear. Whether clarity or confusion fills the mind, the mirror is not stained. This resilience suggests that awareness is more fundamental than its contents. If quantum coherence exists in the brain, it may help sustain this resilience, keeping awareness clear even as thoughts and feelings flicker like passing clouds. Now imagine the act of looking into a literal mirror. You see your face, yet you know it is not the face itself but a reflection. Awareness is like this, but in reverse. What you see, the world, your body, your thoughts, are reflections within awareness, while awareness itself is invisible, ungraspable. This inversion suggests that consciousness is not a product within experience, but the condition for experience. Neuroscience can trace the mechanics of reflection, the signals and circuits. But the presence of awareness remains mysterious, as though the mirror itself is made of light too fine to measure. Dreams offer another glimpse of the quantum mirror. In dreams, entire worlds are reflected, vivid and complete, yet made only of the mind's own activity. When you awaken, you realize they were illusions, but while they lasted, they felt real. The mirror of awareness reflected them fully, without distinction between dream and waking. This capacity to reflect both illusion and reality without bias suggests a neutrality, a silence at the heart of consciousness. If quantum processes are involved, they may sustain this neutrality by holding possibilities before they collapse, allowing awareness to reflect them all with equal clarity. Emotion adds color to the mirror. Joy brightens the world, sorrow dims it, love softens it. Yet the mirror itself remains unchanged. It reflects the emotions but is not them. This distinction is important. You can feel anger without becoming anger, grief without becoming grief. Awareness provides the space in which emotion arises and fades. In physics, fields provide the space in which particles arise and vanish. The metaphor deepens. Awareness may be like a field, a quantum mirror in which the events of mind and matter appear, shine, and dissolve. The unity of awareness is striking. You never experience two separate consciousnesses. You may have many thoughts, but they all appear within one field. You may have many sensations, but they all belong to the same now. This unity suggests coherence, a binding that holds diversity together. Classical networks may explain this binding, yet some theorists propose that quantum coherence could add to the unity, allowing distant parts of the brain to share patterns instantly. Even if this is unproven, the metaphor holds. Awareness is a mirror, always whole, always one, even as it reflects countless fragments. Attention focuses the mirror, narrowing its reflection. When you concentrate, awareness sharpens like a mirror turned toward a single flame. When you relax, awareness widens like a mirror reflecting the whole sky. This flexibility shows the dynamic nature of consciousness. It can narrow to detail or widen to vastness, but the mirror itself remains constant. Quantum systems also show flexibility, collapsing into precision when measured but existing in openness before. The comparison is not perfect, yet it reveals something poetic. Awareness is both precise and open, both focused and expansive, both particle and wave. Memory also depends on this mirror, with O. At awareness, memories would remain silent traces in the brain. Awareness reflects them into presence, allowing you to revisit the past as if it were now. In this way, the mirror of consciousness bends time, making what is gone appear again. Quantum physics describes particles that seem to blur past and future, existing in superpositions until resolved. Awareness feels like a similar superposition of time, capable of holding yesterday and today in the same luminous now. The mirror does not age, it simply reflects whatever appears upon it. The self, too, is a reflection in this mirror. You feel an identity, a sense of I, yet upon close inspection, it is made of thoughts, memories, and sensations that arise and fade. The mirror reflects them, and together they create the image of a person. But the mirror itself has no self. It reflects whatever appears without preference. Some spiritual traditions describe the self as a dream in awareness, a reflection mistaken for the mirror. Neuroscience, too, shows that the self is constructed, not located in a single place but distributed across processes. The quantum mirror metaphor suggests that the self is a pattern reflected, not the reflector itself. As we close this first section, imagine awareness as a still lake at night. Stars reflect upon its surface, bright and trembling. The moon glows in its calm depths, yet the lake itself is silent, holding everything yet clinging to nothing. This is the quantum mirror of awareness, clear, vast, and unbroken. Whether sustained by classical networks or by quantum harmonies, it remains the most intimate mystery of life. To know you are aware is to glimpse the mirror itself, shining silently, reflecting all, needing nothing. And in that reflection, you find not only yourself but the cosmos gazing back. Let us step deeper into the mirror, where awareness reflects not only the surface of experience but also the hidden textures beneath. The mirror shows the dance of thought and sensation, yet it also reveals the vast silence in which those movements appear. This silence is not empty. It is alive, luminous, capable of holding everything without strain. To explore it is to touch the foundation of consciousness, the place where mind and matter seem to meet. Some believe this foundation is purely biological, the result of neurons weaving signals into unity. Others wonder whether the clarity of the mirror hints at a subtler layer, perhaps quantum harmonies shimmering at the root of being. Reflection itself is a paradox. A mirror shows the world but does not contain it. Awareness shows thoughts, emotions, and perceptions, yet remains untouched by them. You can experience grief, but the mirror of awareness is not stained. You can feel joy, but the mirror does not swell. This resilience suggests that awareness may be fundamental, a stage on which all phenomena appear but which itself cannot be broken. In physics, fields hold particles in existence, shaping their behavior without being consumed. Awareness may be such a field, a quantum mirror reflecting the dance of matter while remaining unmarked. Consider the way awareness binds multiplicity into one. Your senses stream signals constantly: light, sound, touch, taste, smell. Each signal travels through separate pathways, each processed by specialized circuits. Yet when you open your eyes and ears, you experience not fragments but a world, a single unified scene. This unity is effortless, seamless. Neuroscience explains it through integration and synchronization of networks, yet the elegance of the result invites wonder. How do separate signals become one luminous now? Some theories suggest that coherence, even fleeting quantum coherence, might help sustain this binding, creating a single reflection from countless fragments. The mirror is not many mirrors, it is one. Memory brings another dimension to the mirror. When you recall a childhood scene, the smell of rain or the warmth of a hand, it feels as though the past has returned. Yet what returns is not matter but reflection. The brain reactivates patterns and awareness reflects them into presence. In this way, the mirror bends time. The past is not restored physically, but it shines again as image, feeling, and meaning. Quantum mechanics also bends time, suggesting that particles can exist in states that do not strictly obey linear sequence. The comparison is imperfect but evocative. Memory, like quantum states, resists the rigidity of chronology. In the mirror of awareness, yesterday can live again. Dreams, too, depend on this mirror. In dreams, awareness reflects entire worlds built from fragments of memory and imagination. These reflections are so vivid they rival waking life. You may run, fly, or weep, and the experiences feel real while they last. When you awaken, you see they were reflections, yet the emotions remain. The mirror is impartial. It reflects dreams as faithfully as it reflects daylight. This impartiality shows the openness of awareness, its willingness to hold even illusions without judgment. In quantum physics, the mirror could be likened to superposition, where multiple states exist until one is observed. Dreams may be the mental form of such superposition, entire possibilities played out in the theater of night. Attention acts like a hand polishing the mirror, focusing it. When you concentrate on a flame, the reflection sharpens and the rest of the world recedes. When you relax, the mirror broadens, reflecting everything at once. This flexibility of attention mirrors the flexibility of quantum systems, which collapse into precision when measured but remain fluid otherwise. Awareness itself, however, remains constant beneath the shifts of attention. It is the mirror, steady and clear, no matter where the light falls. The dance between attention and awareness reveals the depth of the mirror's power, to focus narrowly or to hold vastness without losing clarity. The self is perhaps the most persistent reflection. You feel an identity, a center, a voice that says I, yet upon inspection, the self is made of reflections. Thoughts about who you are, memories of what you have done, feelings about what you value. These reflections create the image of a person in the mirror of awareness. But the mirror itself has no self. It reflects all selves without becoming one. This is why in deep meditation or dream, the self can dissolve and awareness remains. Neuroscience shows that the self is distributed across processes, not located in one place. The metaphor of the quantum mirror deepens this insight. The self is a reflection, not the reflector. Emotions ripple across the mirror like colors across water. Love warms the reflection, grief darkens it, fear shakes it. Yet the mirror itself does not change. It is constant, luminous, resilient. This is why you can observe your own emotions, noticing them as they rise and fall. The mirror gives you space, a gentle distance. Without it, you would be consumed by every feeling. With it, you can breathe, reflect, and choose. This spaciousness is essential to consciousness. Some suggest that quantum uncertainty may give rise to such freedom, allowing choice to arise from openness rather than strict determination. Whether or not this is true, the mirror remains a symbol of possibility, the space in which freedom lives. Creativity is another gift of the mirror. In its openness, new combinations appear. Ideas converge, unexpected connections arise, images form. The mirror does not dictate, it allows. From this allowance, invention blossoms. A painter sees colors that never met before, a musician hears new melodies, a scientist glimpses a pattern in nature. Creativity is the reflection of possibility, shimmering in awareness until it becomes form. Quantum physics describes potential states collapsing into actual ones. Creativity feels like this collapse, the mirror holding infinite possibilities, then revealing one luminous outcome. The mirror also shows us mortality. Awareness reflects life, but one day the body will fall silent. What happens to the mirror then? Some say it fades with the body, a reflection no longer held. Others imagine that awareness is fundamental, woven into the fabric of reality, surviving beyond individual forms. Quantum fields and entanglements sometimes fuel these imaginations, suggesting that awareness may be more than personal. Science has not settled this, and perhaps never will. Yet the mystery remains profound. To gaze into the mirror of awareness is to see not only your life, but the question of existence itself, shimmering without answer. As we close this second section, let us imagine awareness as a cosmic mirror, vast and luminous. It reflects stars and atoms, thoughts and feelings, dreams and memories. It reflects illusions and truths, sorrow and joy, beginnings and endings. Yet it remains clear, untouched, eternal in its openness. Whether sustained by neurons alone or also by quantum harmonies, this mirror is the essence of consciousness. To notice it is to glimpse the deepest mystery, that the universe not only exists but also knows it exists through the mirror of your awareness, and in that reflection the cosmos sees itself. The mirror of awareness remains before us, steady and luminous, waiting for our final reflection. We have seen how it holds thoughts and feelings without strain, how it binds multiplicity into unity, how it reveals the self and yet is not the self. Now, as we close this story, we linger with the possibility that this mirror is not only a metaphor but a clue, that consciousness itself may be a quantum mirror, a reflection both of the world and of the hidden laws that shape it. Begin with silence. In silence, awareness shines most clearly. Thoughts quiet, sensations soften, and what remains is the simple presence of being. This presence feels infinite, unbroken, timeless. Neuroscience tells us that networks are still active. Neurons still fire, but their rhythm has slowed into coherence. Physics tells us that beneath all matter lies a field of possibility, particles shimmering in and out of existence. The parallel is striking. Both mind and matter emerge from silence, both shine within stillness, both reveal themselves as patterns in a deeper field. The mirror of awareness may be the meeting point, the place where silence takes form. Now turn to unity. Consciousness is always one, even when reflecting many. You may hold countless sensations, colors, sounds, textures, but they belong to one scene. You may feel emotions mingling, joy with sorrow, fear with wonder, but they belong to one heart. You may think of past, present, and future, yet they belong to one mind. This unity is effortless, seamless. In quantum physics, entanglement also creates unity across distance, binding particles into one system. Whether or not such entanglement exists in the brain, the metaphor illuminates awareness. It is a field where differences are held together, not dissolved but harmonized, reflected as one. The mirror also reveals impermanence. Each reflection arises and vanishes. A thought appears, lingers, and fades. A feeling rises like a wave, then falls back into silence. Even the self, so steady in waking life, shifts in dreams, softens in meditation, and will one day dissolve at death. Awareness reflects all these changes but does not change itself. This constancy is its mystery. In physics, fields persist while particles come and go. Awareness feels like such a field, steady, open, eternal in its clarity, though what it reflects is transient. This constancy amidst impermanence is why the mirror comforts, why it feels like a home within the shifting of life. Creativity blossoms in this openness. The mirror does not force images, it allows them. From this allowance, imagination flowers. You may dream of flying, invent new stories, or solve problems in sudden flashes. Awareness holds the space where possibilities shimmer, then collapse into form. Quantum physics describes a similar process, potential states resolving into one outcome. Creativity feels like such resolution, the mirror holding countless seeds until one blooms into presence. This flowering is not limited to artists or scientists. It is the essence of life. To live is to create moment by moment within the mirror of awareness. Compassion also arises naturally from the mirror. When you see that awareness reflects all without preference, you recognize that your own awareness is not separate from others. Each being carries a mirror reflecting their own world, their own joys and sorrows. To honor your awareness is to honor theirs. To see that the mirror itself is clear, untouched by the reflections, is to soften judgment and open to kindness. Perhaps this universality is metaphor only. Perhaps it is literal if awareness is fundamental and shared at some quantum level. Either way, compassion becomes the natural rhythm of the mirror, the reflection of unity in action. The mirror also invites humility. For all our theories, we do not know why awareness exists. We can describe its mechanisms, but not its essence. Why should matter reflect itself at all? Why should there be a mirror rather than silence alone? This question remains unanswered, shimmering like light on water. Quantum physics, with its mysteries of superposition and entanglement, offers metaphors but not closure. Neuroscience, with its maps of circuits, offers explanations but not essence. The mirror stands unbroken, reflecting both science and mystery. To gaze into it is to realize that not all questions must be answered. Some can simply be lived. Death returns as the final reflection. The body will one day dissolve, neurons will fall silent, and the self will fade. What becomes of the mirror then? Some say it vanishes with the body. Others imagine that it endures, woven into the quantum fabric of reality. The truth is unknown, perhaps unknowable. Yet the awareness of mortality sharpens the present. To know that reflections will cease makes each one precious. Each breath, each gaze, each moment of love becomes luminous, reflected in the mirror with tender clarity. Mortality is the shadow that makes the light of awareness shine brighter. So we close with gratitude. The mirror of awareness has given us the world, not once but endlessly. It has reflected skies and oceans, voices and faces, thoughts and dreams. It has reflected sorrow and joy, beginnings and endings, self and silence. Whether born of neurons alone or also of quantum harmonies, it is wondrous. For to be aware is to live not only in the world, but with the world reflected within. It is to be both observer and participant, both mirror and image, both silence and song. Imagine now the mirror vast as the night sky, stars scattered across its surface, galaxies shimmering in its depth. This is your awareness, boundless, luminous, eternal in openness, each moment. Is a star reflected, each life a constellation, and in the end, the cosmos itself gazes back from within you. The quantum mirror of awareness is not only within the mind, it is the universe knowing itself, through you, in silence, in reflection, in light.